But here, there's been times when, you know, I don't want to say we're sick of each other, but we're just exhausted, tired. We all need some space, or maybe we just need some together time.
Yeah.
But there hasn't been anyone to call.
Yeah.
Hey C-Fam, and welcome back to another video. I'm Mayfair.
And I'm Winston.
And we are...
The Clements! And Malika's
in the back, so if you hear someone chiming in, that'll be her. But today's a special video. You want to tell them why?
Today's a special video. We're hanging out with two of our favorite people.
Yes.
And this is the second time we're hanging out in person. But we've known each other for a few years now, online.
Years, yeah.
So it's a pleasure to introduce the Tates.
Hey, what is going on, y'all?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Welcome. And people really loved the video that we did together. The first time.
They did.
Yeah,
It was a lot of people in the comments that was like, man, I'm so glad that y'all connected together.
Yeah.
And like, I know how y'all feel, but me, Crystal, and the boys, we love, man, that we have a relationship with you guys.
No, we love having them. So yeah, this is actually a two-part video. So part one of this conversation is going to be over on the Totally Tates channel, and then part two is going to be on our channel. So make sure you go over to that channel first,
and
watch, subscribe, like, support, and then head back here for part two so you can get the full conversation, because we thought we owed you guys a sit down. Last time it was a vlog, but we want to just, you know, probably chat it up, okay, let you guys know the tea. So head over there.
Even on the topic of those highs and lows within marriage, because we all know that we have them, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to go into details on those highs and those lows, but just talk about some of those high moments that you guys had, and just some of those low moments. And you don't have to go into details, but I know we have a lot of married couples that watches our channel, and that's something that we want to inspire them on as well. But what if you guys want to share? What are just some low moments and highs that you guys have?
Highs or lows? What would you like?
Bit of both.
Hey, you know what? Start with the bad.
Okay.
Like, look, I had asked Samson last week. I said, I got some good news. I got some bad news. What you want to hear? He said, give me the bad news.
That's smart. So then you end on a good note.
You can end on a high. Yeah. I mean, for us, I think I wouldn't even call them bad moments necessarily, but I feel like there's areas that we identified since the beginning where we knew we needed to grow.
Yeah.
Like from the beginning. I think one of those has been in understanding each other.
Yeah.
Like, I guess an easy way to frame it would be understanding each other's love languages, for example.
Oh, I love that.
Because that's pretty big. So my wife is very big on words of affirmation.
Yeah.
And now more of an acts of service person. And so we realized that when we were having conflicts, it's because we weren't giving each other what they need.
Right.
We're trying to love each other in the way that we like to be loved.
Yes.
Right? And so there was a disconnect, and then all of a sudden something that feels really small can get really big because time is passing and you're no closer to hearing each other, to understanding each other. So I think that's been one of the things that we're still growing on, even 5 years later.
Wow, that's funny that you say that, because within our first few years of me and Crystal getting married, we were going through some of those low moments where we were disconnected, and for me, it was like I don't understand what's going on, right? Like, I'm like, woman, I love you, but you telling me you don't feel like I love you, and I'm like, I'm doing all of these things.
All the stuff that I like.
The stuff that I like to do.
I'm like, and I don't feel nothing.
Yes, and in my head, I'm like,
landing.
I'm just so confused. I'm like, I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this. And even the same thing a little bit vice versa. It's like, Crystal, you're not giving me what I need, but we had got that book, The 5 Love Languages, and that really just opened up our eyes. And for me, it was like an aha moment. It was like, duh, dude. Like, she don't care about all the stuff that you do. She want this and she want that. And so, like, physical touch, and the other one was gifts. And it was like, okay, like, duh. It made sense.
Yeah, once you know it, it's just, it is a dull moment.
Yes. Now talk about some of those high moments.
Highs. I think having our daughter, Malika, was definitely a high. Because, you know.
And we kept it a surprise too. We didn't know what we were having.
Yeah, we didn't know she would be a girl until she was
until
born.
the last moment, yeah.
And obviously it has its challenges having kids, but I think just the joy that it brought, you know, to our family, the joy that she does bring, was amazing. And a big one was moving to the States as well. It was a big faith move, moving to Atlanta from London. But yeah, just to be living in something, because I think we spoke about moving to America since before we even got together.
Yeah, I think separately we both wanted to move to America.
Yeah.
And then when we got together, we realized that, oh, we share this goal.
This goal.
Yeah.
So just to be living in it is just an answered prayer. And yeah, just to be living our dream together is awesome.
Yeah.
Man, that is great.
That is beautiful. And so, like, how do you guys maintain unity in your marriage?
Oh, that's a good question.
With help.
With help,
we
we
still have the
have
counselor, we still have therapy.
Yeah, every month we meet with the pastor that married us, and we just, you know, some months it's like, yeah, we're doing great, and it's kind of just a maintenance check. Other months, like this month, it was like,
911.
no, like this man's not hearing me. Talk to him. So I think it's just being willing to like keep having the conversation, because it's so easy, I think, in marriage to want to just sweep things under the rug, or like, oh, I don't want to have a fight right now. I don't want the conflict. Let me just say it's okay when it's not okay. But over time, that kind of builds resentment. So I think just trying to honor that vow of like, bring it into the space, even if it takes time to untangle. You don't quite get where I'm coming from. I don't quite get where you're coming from. Let's keep bringing it back to the space. Because I'm a big believer in the fact that if you talk for long enough, like, you will find that common ground. Maybe not all in one sitting. Maybe you need to take a break. Like, let's take a beat on this, come back tomorrow. But just keeping talking has been the biggest thing that's kept us united.
And even when things are good, because there's been times when we've been in a season where I thought, wow, like, we cracked it. Like, we
cracked the code.
This is good. And I've even been half tempted to just text the pastor and say,
we're done.
We're graduating now. Like, we're done. But actually, that's when you realize that something's probably about to come up that you guys really need to work through. So just having that consistency of creating a space to talk, whether things are high or low, it just creates that culture in your marriage.
Yeah, because the enemy hates marriage. That's one thing. So I think it's recognizing you're always in a fight with him for that sacred gift. So you got to fight back. You can't be passive. You got to fight back.
That, like, you two are fighting against the enemy.
Right, not you two.
Your team.
No, that is really good. And just with that question, right, of how you guys keep unity together, and I'm going to ask you, Winston, because you don't talk a lot. So you're going to have to answer this question first.
The non-talker.
Everyone's a non-talker compared to
No, he's right. He's right. Look,
I'd say me and Josh are the talkers. And then you and Crystal are
These are the
like,
yappers. We should swap. We should swap places. This will be the quiet side.
yapper.
Right.
Well, how do you guys support each other emotionally, spiritually, and also physically?
Oh God, that is in depth.
Yeah, it's a good question.
I would say emotionally is kind of what we touched on previously, like understanding how the other person needs to be loved, and then you can meet them there. And I think 5 years has given us enough time to experience some pretty big things. So like, I lost my mom in that time. We had a baby. We moved overseas. And so just learning that, hey, we need to keep coming back to how you need to be loved in all seasons is what has really helped us to stay connected emotionally. Not perfectly. Sometimes we miss the mark, but I think that's been really important to us. What was the other one?
Spiritually.
So spiritually, I think definitely we have some growth to do here. Because I think we've got to a place where we're pretty good with our individual time with God. And sometimes it's just a case of, you guys know, because you're parents, Like you can't just both go away and have like an hour with
that
God
part
when you got children.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's a case of timing. Like, you know, my wife needs to do her stuff in the morning,
Yeah.
and then I do it in the evening, or vice versa.
Oh.
So it ends up being more individual focused.
Yes.
But what we've been thinking about is how to incorporate spirituality in our together time
Yeah.
and in our family time too.
Yes.
So something that we've tried recently, and it could just be something small, like even at the dinner table,
Yeah.
sharing something that you got from your time with God, you know, with the family, or a scripture that really resonated with you,
Yeah.
and just talking about it over dinner. You might only have 5 minutes before
Yes.
Malika starts screaming again,
Right.
but it just introduces that culture that we do share together about spiritual matters.
Yeah.
And then physically?
Yes.
Physically, that's an interesting one too, especially with either our dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think, so I guess to kind of take it back, so I've always been quite independent. So prior to, you know, living with my wife, I lived alone.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I had an apartment. It wasn't necessarily a accessible apartment. It was on the ground floor.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So that's good though.
It was on the ground floor. I mean, they didn't do that for me though. They just,
Just happened to be there.
yeah. So they didn't do that for me. They just, you know, I just happened to get a ground floor property.
Yeah.
And then I think throughout my life, because of the way my family is, they've always encouraged me to try and figure out ways to do things in spaces that are not necessarily designed for me.
Yeah.
So, and that could just look simply like, you know, instead of putting things in the top cupboard, we just put everything on the kitchen counter, for example. So I think by the time I got married, I already had that mindset.
Yes.
And I think the biggest thing for me has been learning to ask for help, because there are things that are, as much as I want to do everything
Yeah.
for myself, there are times when I need my wife.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the conversations that we had early on, where my wife was really reassuring that, hey, you don't have to do everything for yourself anymore. Like, if you need help, I want to make this a safe space to ask. And I think I've gotten better at that over time.
You have, yeah.
Man.
I always say he's fiercely independent.
Yes, No, and like, you know, I've been with Winston for the past 3 days where we've been going to the conference, and I've really been seeing that, right? And because a lot of people, when they look at families or like people with osteogenesis imperfecta, we get it in the comments like, they say like Samson and Joseph, like they not going to be independent. They're not going to be able to do stuff for themselves, right? And I know even a lot of people, they may have that mindset even when they look at you guys' channel, right? But it's like, that is not true. Like Winston can handle, and then you guys made a video,
Right.
Where he was showing.
yeah, where you
Yeah,
were
a few
showing
weeks
like,
ago. Yeah.
this dude is the boss, man. Like, like he got it, and so I think that's really good. Now it's your turn to answer the question.
Honestly, I would agree with most of what you said. I think spiritually, if you guys, I think, are strong spiritually, individually, that kind of leaks into your together time. You obviously have to create the space to discuss what you're learning about. Emotionally, continuing to learn what the other person needs in different seasons, because it's different when, you know, you're freshly postpartum to, you know, when you have older kids, things like that.
Yes.
Physically, like not being afraid to ask for help on both sides too. Like if there's something I'm like, I think Winston could do that, I'll ask him, and now he brings the trash in. I'm trying to get him to, you know, do you want to try washing up the dishes?
Too much sometimes.
You want to try washing up the dishes? Because I hate washing dishes. He's still,
Hey,
he's
Winston, I
like,
need you to paint the room.
right.
Yeah,
and
she
he
be
needs
having
to
me doing
paint
the
it.
roof.
I'm like, how about
Yeah, the roof.
cooking? I think you can use the air fryer. Why don't you throw some chicken in? So things like that. And just, you know, making time for, you know, physical intimacy too is important on that aspect as well.
Yes.
So you guys kind of touched already on it, but what would you say would be like or probably you guys didn't though, but it's kind of sound like it, but what would be like a big misconception that people think about like your relationship, like including the dynamic and everything?
I mean, I think one is just that I'm Winston's caregiver. That's probably like the biggest one, which that's not our dynamic. Some couples where there's disability at play, that is. But like I said before, I met Winston. He had his own apartment. Like, he's able to take care of his needs. And then, intimacy is a big thing. People have a question about what's possible with that.
And intimacy is a strange one, because before we had Malika, all the trolls were saying, "Oh, there ain't no way like they can have kids."
Yeah.
and then my wife got pregnant, and while she was pregnant, they're like, "It can't be his."
Yeah.
Right.
And then she came out
and
and
then
looked
she
just like
came,
him.
and she looks a lot like me, and then they're like, "Oh, it must have been IVF." So it's like, I think this is a lesson, because sometimes you try to do things to please people, but people who are not for you, they'll just never get it.
Yes, it's nothing you can do. Yeah, no, absolutely. A video came out like a few weeks ago when I had saw that video that you guys made, of y'all two.
On Truly.
And I was watching that where y'all was talking about those trolls.
Yeah.
But I think like that is like, even with just knowing you, right? That was something for me I didn't really understand, but I didn't look at it in a negative way as far as for Samson. But it's like, nah, man, that is very possible. You know, that is very possible. But I mean, one of the things that I love is that when I think of these haters, right, and the trolls, like, God is able to show people like, hey, it's not what you think. Yeah, you might think this, but no, it's not even that. With God, all things is possible, and God make things work that people think won't work. So I really do like that. I do like that.
And that definitely gives us hope. Like, just hearing it again, like all of it, especially like you living independently and everything. Like, that just shows for people who are like saying negative things or whatever. Like, it's not just what you think, and just because like some people just have limited mindsets, and that's what holds like a lot of people back whenever they are limited. Like, it's more than what you see, basically.
It's possible,
it's deeper than what we just see on the outside. So I love that.
It takes grit for sure, and like just pushing yourself to do things you can't. Like, I think even when you were telling me you started learning to drive, it's not something that you see everyone with a disability or your condition do, but you have to have that willingness to just ask, like, what if I can do that?
Yes, and that's why environment is so important,
right?
You know, because as much as you guys were looking for a reference point for Samson and Jojo, I too was also at the stage where, because I've been through a lot of my life already, and I was looking to almost give back to the generation that are coming up behind me, because I didn't have those references. You know, I'm old. There was no YouTube. So I didn't, and I think maybe what makes this even more special is, yes, we do connect on the faith aspect, but I think also culturally there's a connection too, because a lot of the examples, even when I did get onto YouTube, they look nothing like me. Like, they had a completely different background. So if I could be that reference for someone who looks like me, I think that is even more powerful.
No, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. Just talking about how you guys had your first child, right? We know from experience with having children that is like difficult to balance. But how have you guys balanced you guys' marriage and also raising Malika?
Have we?
Have we?
I always tell people, I'm like,
Are we? Yeah, it's something that I think we're still continuously trying to do. And you have to be creative. Like, right now, we don't have like a reliable like nanny or babysitter. So sometimes it's after we put her to bed, like we order in some food and we have like a little date night at home. Or like, you know, we watch a movie, have some popcorn, and that's our date night. So it's being creative, I think, and like not letting it be, you have less time, but looking at how you can use that time better. And realizing, I think, the importance of that strong foundation even with kids, because I think that's the biggest thing that gives them security, is knowing that they have two people that love each other and that continue to love each other. It's good to pour into your kids, but there's a different kind of stability you get as a kid when you know that like these two are tight. So I think kids kind of understand that too. Like when mom and dad need to take some time, like, you know, you go watch a show, mom and dad are gonna like hang out. So remembering that it's a gift that we're giving to Malika, you know, us having that love between us.
Yeah, and just rebuilding our community because we're still quite new to America. So, you know, back home we could maybe get away with a few more things because we had my sisters there, Mayfair's parents are there. So if we really needed a weekend to ourselves, we can make it happen. But here, there's been times when, you know, I don't want to say we're sick of each other, but we're just exhausted, tired. We all need some space, or maybe we just need some together time. But there hasn't been anyone to call. So I think a big thing that we've been intentional about is just rebuilding that community, and we found a really good church now. Where, you know, made some great connections and people who Malika is super comfortable with as well.
Man, absolutely. Well, that is good. Crystal, do you have a question that you want to ask, or as we wrap it up, because we're gonna cut this off real soon, but
as we get ready to wrap it up, what is something that you guys can share with a family or a couple who are walking a similar path as you all?
Honestly, I would say one of the biggest things I've learned, and it's kind of been a theme that we've spoken about already, is you don't have to do it alone. Right? Because, you know, even for us, when we first got married, and you know how they say the first year of marriage is really, really hard. And there were moments where it felt like we were going back and forth. And to me, I don't know about you, but to me, it kind of felt like it was lonely. Because, you know, it's kind of like, you know, we're supposed to be in our honeymoon period and everything's supposed to be going well. So I'm almost embarrassed to ask for help because this is meant to be like, this is the beginning. Like, how are you messing up in the beginning? But I think the same thing can be applied like throughout different stages, whether it's when we got pregnant or when we moved. You know, all of these things that look good on the surface, and then you realize that there's some work that needs to go into it. You know, and then there's that almost shame that, you know, should I reach out for help? So I think that's one of the biggest things I would share for anyone, and especially couples, is you don't have to navigate all of that stuff by yourself.
I agree. Like, get mentorship, find other couples that you trust to open up with and really have those real conversations with. People that you know are genuinely for you and for your marriage. Like, you don't want to go to your girlfriends who are like, he was never good for you anyway, and da-da-da. Go to the friends that, like, they value marriage, you know, they're married, you know that they're going to ultimately point you back to each other. And God, honestly, like, lean on God.
And pray together, especially during the hard times.
So, and realize, you can do more together than you can alone. So fight for that togetherness even when it's hard.
Man, that is really good. Fight for that togetherness, even though it's really hard. I do love that. I love that.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. We hope that you enjoyed this video. We're definitely going to be creating more content together soon. We're currently trying to convince the Tates to come to Atlanta. So hopefully...
Yeah, and then we can do a joint podcast every week.
Look at that!
Who wants that?
Vlogs together. All of that. So put it, go to the Tates, put it in their comments. Come to Atlanta. Put that in the comments.
ATL in the comments. ATL.
Put that right there. But for now, we hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, support both channels. And
see you in the next one.
See you in the next one.
See you in the next one.